It is a 2/3 if we have, right?
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
All the people with checks are here.
Is that a check?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an X.
All right, so the ones with checks.
It's a check X. All the ones with check X.
How do you say his name? Gonzalo? All right, so the ones with checks, like Lee's here, Ryan's here.
Wasn't sold out.
And everyone with a mark, these guys are.
Yep.
They have groups. They have 18, 19, maybe 20 groups. I don't really push it. I mean, just the same people sign up every year. See the same people every year. Paul runs it now.
They pass with no discussion. We're not going to.
Okay, rest my case.
Right, him and Jimmy Wolf. So,
Okay.
so that's Jimmy called me on. So we play every year, but we just bring the flyer when we go. He called me on. So the tournament was today. He called me Wednesday. Hey, you want to play golf? I'm like, what if I wasn't? Like, you're calling me like 4 days before the tournament starts. He's like, yeah, we're looking for some more people. We had a few drop out.
Yeah.
Then they have
Just had a few never dropped in.
right.
Welcome to, can't hear this, huh? Yep. Never been told they couldn't hear my voice, Kevin. Welcome to the special annual town meeting on May 12th, 2025. If you wouldn't mind standing, rising, and pledge allegiance to the flag, it's to my right. Pledge allegiance
To the flag.
flag.
United States of America. To the republic.
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A couple of procedural. We have some out-of-town attendees that are here because they're employees or assisting the town. Charlie Seelig, Town Administrator. Rebecca Johnson, Assistant Town Administrator. Amy Resource Coordinator. Russ Hannigan, EBCAM Director. John Clifford, Town Council. Clifford and Kenny. Paula Wolf, Director of Assessment. Megan Crosby, Treasurer Collector. Chris Kenny, Town Council. Clifford and Kenny. And I do hope I say this name of the new Fire Chief, John Zizzalo. Welcome to the town, sir. If you want to stand to be recognized, there's our new Fire Chief. And in the spirit, I'd like to thank Mr. Herron, our retired Fire Chief. Tim, how many years? Please stand and get recognized. And let me continue. I am McGonigal IT Director, Lee Nguyen, Principal Clerk, Christopher Buckley, Veteran Service. As part of moderator, I get to just bring I get to hog the mic for a minute. As you know, we're celebrating 250 years of this country, and believe it or not, it started on town meeting 250 years ago, not at this town, obviously. Town meeting did exist before then, from where I originally came, from Weymouth in 1620 it started, but the one that got the country started was the ones that are in 1775, and they were held in Lexington and Concord. And since that time, town meeting has been, in essence, the democracy of the country, and it formed the country. So hopefully we can continue to do that with civil discourse and contribute to this town as we move forward. And now we'll have Town Clerk read the warrant for the special town meeting. We'll do that first.
Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of East Bridgewater, who being qualified to vote in elections and town affairs, to meet at the Junior-Senior High School, 143 Plymouth Street, in said East Bridgewater, on Monday, the 12th day of May, 2025, at 7 p.m. Then and there to act upon the enclosed articles, to wit. You're directed to serve this warrant by posting a copy thereof attested to by you in writing in each of the 6 public places in the town at least 14 days before the time for holding the meeting called for in the warrant. Herefore fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk of said town on or before the 29th day of April 2025. given under our hands this 14th day of April in the year of our Lord 2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And we're not quite through honoring or recognizing some of our town officials. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Spagone for a special announcement presentation. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. You stole a little of my thunder for the fire chief, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll get you back later. So I would take one more round of applause. Mr. Heron was served 33 years on the fire department, 13 years as the chief. Was an inspiration to the firefighters in this town and in other towns, and I'd just like to take a second to once again recognize him. The other gentleman that's leaving us this year is Mr. Sheedy. Mr. David Sheedy's been on our board now since, I've got it written down since 1881.
82.
82, okay. So, but all seriousness, a big loss for the town, having David step down. Me and Carol wanted to make sure he was recognized, not only for the work he's done at the Board of Selectmen's office, but throughout the town in many departments. The list goes on and on. So for the time he spent putting in for the town of East Bridgewater to make it a better place than he found it, I'd like to give him a round of applause as well.
Thanks, Peter, and accolades well-deserved, David. Thank you. Now to the business at hand. We'll go to Article 1 of the special town meeting. While I get my papers here. And I think, is this, Mr. Sheedy, this your article?
It is. Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer from available funds the sum of, or sums of money from account number 10.
David, I can't hear you. Can you speak into the mic?
Mic on?
Right into it.
Bring it right in.
Let me start again.
It's your first meeting?
I don't know what this is. We used to have little cups.
Didn't have those in 1881.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer from available funds the sum or sums of money from account number 1035903590 free cash in the amount of $174,982 required to meet obligations for the East Bridgewater Police Association for fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25 as printed.
Motion, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded for discussion, if any, Mr. Sheedy.
This is a culmination of negotiations with the patrolmen's associations over the last couple of years, and we finally came to an agreement that is beneficial to all.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 1 as presented? This will require a majority vote. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 1 passes. Article 2, Mr. Windsor, the Deputy Chief, Fire Chief, Deputy Fire Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator. I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $12,000 from account number 22-231-834-4270, ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation, to account number 1-231-520-5243, ambulance repairs and maintenance, for repairs to ambulance 2.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Chief for discussion, Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this article.
Thank you. Deputy Chief, if any further discussion?
No, unanticipated expensive repairs to a 10-year-old ambulance that were up for replacement tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 2 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 2 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 2 passes out majority. Article 3, Deputy Chief Windsor.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $10,000 from account number 22-231-834-4270, ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation, to account number 1-231-520-5426, ambulance software and license for increased costs for EMT, paramedic, ACLS, PALS, and CPR recertification fees.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee unanimously approves this article.
Deputy Chief for discussion, if any?
We had some increases in licensing fees and also transfer over to Holbrook Dispatch. We had some compatibility issues with some software.
Any further discussion on Article 3 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 3 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 3 passes. Thank you. Article 4, Police Chief Jenkins.
Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $12,860 from account number 103593590 free cash to account number 1-210-511-5148 additional comp, other to fund the body worn camera training for the police department FY25.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this article.
Chief Jenkins for discussion, if any.
Is there any questions?
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 4 as presented? Yep. You got, as you know, Ms. Wolf, you got your address, your name and address.
Mr. Moderator, Catherine Wolf, 272 Laurel Street. I was just curious how many individuals will be trained for this $12,860?
30 officers.
You got to speak into the mic.
Is that the entire force?
The ones that will be obligated to wear them, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 4 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 4 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 4 passes, majority. Article 5, Mr. Kiley, Facilities Director.
Good evening. I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $37,750 from account 1-191-1217-5241 Central School Repair Assessment and $11,500 from account 1-191-1231-5241 Assessment of Central Elementary School to account 1-191-5999-5241 Central School Repair for unanticipated repairs to the school.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously supports this article.
Thank you. Mr. Kiley for discussion, if any.
These are two articles from FY 18 and 17 that were for feasibility studies for repairs for the school through MSBA. Then we were reimbursed through the MSBA. Now we want to reappropriate the money for repairs to the school.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 5 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 5 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 5 passes. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the special town meeting.
Motion.
Motion made, second. All in favor of adjourn the special town meeting?
Aye.
All right, now we go in, anybody opposed? Now we'll go into the annual town meeting. I do have to have Madam Clerk read the warrant for the annual town meeting.
See if I can do it again. Okay. Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you're hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of East Bridgewater who being qualified to vote in the elections and town affairs to meet at the junior-senior high school, 143 Plymouth Street, in said East Bridgewater on Monday, the 12th day of May at 7 p.m., then and there to act upon the enclosed articles to wit. You're directed to serve this warrant by posting a copy thereof attested to by you in writing in each of 6 public places in the town at least 7 days before the time for holding the meeting called for in the warrant. Herefore fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk of said town on or before the 28th day of April 2025, given under the hands this 14th day of April in the year of our Lord 2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now we will get into the annual town meeting. The first 3 items you're going to see are what they call consent agenda. These are things that we have to do every year. Mr. Spigone, Select Board.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to take out of order Articles 1, 2, and 3, that they be passed by consent in accordance with the motions shown on the 2025 East Bridgewater Annual Town Meeting consent agenda distributed to the town meeting attendees this evening.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Does Finance Committee have a recommendation?
Yes, Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Thank you. So what this done, a few years ago, the state allowed these to be done, these boilerplate things that have to happen every year. They allowed us to group them together. So what we're voting on is approving all 3 when we vote. That's how it's presented. If anybody has any questions on any one of the particular items, you're certainly allowed to ask. I don't know if anyone's got a chance to see them. They're something we do every single year. So I'd actually entertain if there's any further discussion on the consent agenda of 1, 2, 3. Okay. Seeing none, then I will, all in favor of the consent agenda, Articles 1, 2, 3, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Majority passes. Article 4, Mr. Walsh.
I make a motion to move Article 4 for the annual town budget as printed.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Wait 1 second. I know what the Finance Committee recommendation probably is.
Finance Committee recommends this unanimously. We worked very closely with all the departments, worked very closely with the school department to have a viable school budget this year without, I hope, too much impact. Everybody was great working together, and we were able finally to come up with a balanced budget.
All right. Any further discussion? It requires a 2/3 vote because some money's coming out of different accounts.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
we'd just like to clarify that the budget is being moved as written in the handout, not in the warrant.
Okay. Oh, I apologize. So there was a handout of the budget. You got it when you came in, I hope, if you didn't get it before. Thank you, Mr. Clifford. So if you go to, David, you can correct me. So the bottom line, David, you have is the bottom line, the total budget? And then, 64
$64
million,
million.
984, 427?
I can't read this with my glasses.
I don't have those.
I don't need it. I just want to make sure we're all get the same number.
Can I see what you got there?
Absolutely, and I'll even circle what I'm talking about.
It is 64 million, 26. Yeah, 64 million, 984, 427.
Thank you. Any discussion on Article 4 is presented? Ms. Wolf?
Catherine Wolf, 272 Laurel Street. I have a couple of quick questions. Account number 122, which is EBCAM on the first page, it has an item for indirect costs, and the FY25 appropriation amount was $58,913, and the FY26 request is $80,371. I was interested in what additional things are being purchased.
I think behind you, I think we're going to have. Just have to identify yourself. We know who you are. Yes.
Melanie Dean, Town Accountant. So the indirect costs for the enterprise funds are costs that are paid from the town's operating budget, like health insurance, retirement fees, electricity, things that we pay for out of the operating budget, and then the enterprise fund then reimburses us for. So EBCAM's first year as an enterprise fund was FY25, so for FY26 we had a little bit more accurate picture, and unfortunately things like health insurance and retirement costs rose significantly for FY26, making EBCAM's portion larger for FY26 than it was in FY25.
Thank you. Ms. Wolf, did you have another one? Yes. While we got her there?
Okay, this is the next line down, Finance Committee. Now, this is just, my memory isn't what it used to be. And under account number 131, Finance Committee, the line total general expenses. In FY '25, the year we're ending with right now, there was a $250,000 appropriation, and in FY '24, the actual, it was 0. So I'm just curious, I don't remember what we did to make it change, and in this coming year, the request is $283,432. So I understood the Finance Committee to just be like 8 people, and all volunteer. So I don't know what we're paying for.
Why don't we see, I think Melanie, can you?
We voted to get paid a lot this year.
So
Mr. Walsh said he has to get paid a lot this year.
this is the Finance Committee's reserve fund. So this is an account set aside for unexpected costs that come up during the year. And then they have to, so if a department, I can use facilities, for example, for the central school, they had a large plumbing repair that needed to be done this year to keep the school open, and that wasn't within their budget. So they, at that point, go to the Finance Committee and they request, I think it was $30,000 this year, they request that amount of money to be transferred from the reserve fund to their budget. So that's why you see the expenses for the prior year is 0, because that now becomes an expense of the budget that it was transferred to. So that would be picked up in facilities. And we try to keep it about $250,000 every year. It fluctuates slightly. This year we put a little bit more in there because we had some fees that the police department was actually able to collect that we can use for more. Unfortunately, they've been having unexpected repair costs with their cruisers, so that's how that account works.
Thank you. Do you have one more? I thought you, Mrs. Wolfer, you all said you have one more. I know you said you had a couple. Yep, can you come to the mic?
This is on, well, I don't know, I have the one that came off the computer tonight. The third page, I believe, it's the Solid Waste and Recycling Services, account number 403. And again, I think Melanie I need to understand what the indirect costs are, because the Solid Waste Department is, isn't it, no, it's not BFI, but it's, right, no, I know it's that. No, the question is whose trucks are they? And I thought we simply had a contract with them, and then, of course, we have to pay tipping fees. And then I was under the impression that the recycling was maintained by us. I know volunteers and a couple of real DPW guys work down there. And the only expense I understood is that we do have to pay to have the recycling taken away. So I'm just wondering, again, it went from $0 in fiscal '24 to $36,000, and now it's $49,000. I'm just wondering what it is.
Melanie?
So in previous years, the solid waste program was still getting a handle on all of its costs, and it's got to the point where it can take on some of the indirect costs. So what it is they have clerical staff at the DPW that work under solid waste. They spend a significant amount of time with the solid waste program, as well as like she mentioned, the people who work at the transfer station a few times a month. So again, it's a portion of their health insurance, their retirement, as well as a portion of the costs that it takes to operate the treasurer and collector's office, where all the bills come in, because they're processing all that. So it's different costs that are paid for in other departments of the town that are then picked up by that department.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 4 as presented? Just a reminder, the people that are sitting directly in front of me in that far left, that's the non-voting section, just so you know. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of 4 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? I declare it passed by a two-thirds, more than two-thirds. Article 5, Mr. Riley, Planning Board.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Move that the town vote to amend the zoning bylaws of the town of East Bridgewater by adding a new section, Section 16, MBTA Communities North Single and Multifamily Overlay District, MBTA OD, as is printed in the warrant.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Motion made, second. The finance committee doesn't have it, do they? They don't have a recommendation. Mr. Riley, for discussion, if any?
So, Mr. Moderator, first off, just to advise, the planning board held a duly advertised public hearing on this matter on May 5th, 2025, following which the board voted 5-1 to recommend passage of the article this evening.
Thank you.
And further discussion, Mr. Moderator. So, this, folks, is sort of the same article that was presented last fall at the special town meeting with some modifications. As you may be familiar.
Kevin, you need it right into the mic.
Or tip it up a little, Kevin.
As you may be familiar, a number of years ago, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts passed a law requiring states to designate certain acreages for the development of denser housing in response to what it perceived to be a housing emergency in the state. The town presented an article last year, the planning board presented an article last year which incorporated both a northern district, which was bounded by Winter Street, Route 18, and the Whitman town line, and also a central district, which was the sort of the so-called brownfields area in the center of town, across from the post office. That article was ultimately defeated by vote at the special town meeting. What this article is basically, as I said, very similar in its terms, other than in terms of the coverage. This is limited to the northern district, that bordered by Route 18, Winter Street, and the Whitman town line. It does provide for the development of the number of units that is required under the computation that the state has put forth. I would advise that this is the same area that is, or some of the same area, I won't say it's totally the same area, but there is a large part of it, is the 40B development that was approved recently by the Zoning Board of Appeals for a total of 220 units. So that is part of this district, or would be part of this district. I'm sure there'll be some discussion. I can take questions, or other members of the board can take some questions. This is a matter that has been discussed at length at public hearings and just agenda hearings before the planning board. Folks have expressed concerns. Again, what I would say to you is this is an article which is to a degree a zoning exercise, meaning that it is something that the state is requiring us to do. The law has been found to be constitutional. The state has published new regulations, and this article would be compliant with those regulations. It doesn't mean that however many 700-odd units of housing would be developed in the next 30 days, 30 months, 30 years. There's no guarantee that it would result in the development of any new units. It is simply as I say, an exercise to comply with the state, thereby keep us in compliance and avoid the potential loss of various grant funds that the state has indicated it would withhold. So,
thank you, Mr. Riley. Sir, identify yourself and address.
Yeah, Bond Street. Just like to remind everybody, we went through this not too long ago. Everybody voted no. We don't want it in the town. Even though you claim it's a state law, it's not funded by the state. So if it passes, the town gets stuck with the bill. And I believe the town general manager raised that point. But anyways, because we already voted no, we should vote no again. We don't need it, we don't want it, we don't want to pay for it. It's not going to help the town any, it's only going to cause a burden on the town. Everybody's looking at this new elementary school that you guys want to push through. That's going to be $150 million. That means the taxes are going to double or triple. And when you add the MBTA that we don't need, that's going to add additional expenses. If you want the train, you can go to Bridgewater. You can go to Hanson. There's no train coming to East Bridgewater, so there's no need to have the MBTA zoning passed in the town. And a reminder, zoning bylaws are by the vote of the people and residents of the town, not the state. That's why the state wants us to amend it, because they can't do it. We have to vote for it. And if we say no, that's it, it's done. And if the state doesn't like it, too bad, because the state isn't funding this. The state's already got a problem with the sanctuary city policies and the federal funds are being cut. That's going to affect everybody because they don't want to comply with President Trump. Too simple. Comply, get the federal funding. They're going to dig their heels in, federal funding's getting cut. So back to this, the state is not paying a single dime to any town that approves this. The burden is going to be on us. So we voted no before, and I think anybody who proposed this, bringing it up, basically rejecting our no vote, excuse my language, those ass clowns shouldn't have put this up for vote.
Let's keep it, all right.
But anyways, my point is, we already voted no, and we need to vote no again and settle this once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rachel Tedesco, and I live at 105 St. Jim Rock Ave. I'm also a member of the Town Planning Board. I'm speaking in favor of Article 5, the MBTA Communities North Single and Multifamily Overlay District. We really need more housing options for people in our town in this region, particularly more affordable single and multifamily housing. Otherwise, the elderly will be forced to stay in their large single-family homes with 2 or 3 empty bedrooms because they won't have the option of moving into a smaller house, a condo, or an apartment. Young adults will not be able to move out of their parents' homes. Middle-income wage earners, including teachers, office workers, healthcare workers, police, and firefighters, will not be able to find affordable housing, whether apartments, condos, or townhouses. We shouldn't forget the low-income folks either, those whom I certainly don't want to see homeless, but living safely in apartments. Let me remind you that the MBTA zoning does not mandate subsidized housing programs. It only mandates smaller, single and multifamily housing, which generates more affordable housing. There's a difference. I know the opponents of this measure are picturing this as a loss of local control. We as a town still have control over the quality and height of building construction. We will still have control over the protection of our wetlands and natural environment. We will still have control over any future rezoning and where zoning can happen. We as a community will still have the power of democracy to vote such proposals up or down. I think it's so fortunate that the northeast corner of East Bridgewater is being tied into the Brockton sewer system. But I believe that we are not going to become a city, as some people fear, just a more modern suburban town. If we don't pass Article 5 tonight, I am very concerned over the loss of discretionary state grants to East Bridgewater. This is not small change. Old Colony Planning Council said we could lose as much as $2 million in grants in a single fiscal year. It would have the most impact on our public library and the Council on Aging, besides other places in our community. We certainly don't have the money to fight this in court. So please don't listen to these cynics. I hope you base your vote tonight on facts and logic, not on misinformation or fear. So please vote for Article 5. Thank you for listening.
I just want to, John, I got a question for town council. In 20 years, I've never voted, and I stand here, and I will not start tonight, but I need a clarification. I think both sides have brought up good points, but is there any money associated with this?
A number of communities,
No, I mean, we're not allocating any money tonight.
no, but a number of communities have challenged this act based on the fact that no money was given to the town for expenses incurred in implementing the zoning.
That's what I wanted to clarify, okay. But we're not allocating money from a budget tonight.
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hastings, please identify yourself.
Scott Hastings, 882 Washington Street. Mr. Moderator, through you to, I think, Mr. Clifford. So if we don't pass this tonight, are we opening ourselves up to litigation?
Mr. Clifford?
If we are, I don't know if this microphone works, if we are not in compliance as of July, the state can take enforcement actions against us, all right? There are 9 communities who are currently involved in litigation. The town of Milton, the first town to initiate litigation to try to get out from under this act, has settled litigation, and they're going forward with implementing another zoning plan. While none of us think this is good legislation to impose this on the town, the alternatives can in fact be much worse. We have a decision whether to defer to the state to possibly impose something we don't like, or follow the recommendations of our planning board, who have guided this town carefully for decades in some cases. They have made careful consideration of this issue, and they put this forward tonight. I can't tell you what the ramifications will be. It will be our recommendation that we join the litigation rather than just sit back and wait for the state to impose penalties. But I don't think anybody wants to hear that the lawyers win, but that's pretty much how it could go.
Well, I don't mind. All right, any further discussion on Article 5 is presented? Seeing none, this is, oh, did I miss somebody? Oh, I'm sorry. Just, yeah, from back to you, shout, because I can't see too good. Come on up. Sorry, I couldn't see you up there. I'm going to let, she'll go first and you'll go after. Okay, identify yourself and your address.
Chrissy Layton, 548 Winter Street, somebody who this will actually impact greatly. I moved here from Rockland, Massachusetts almost 8 years ago. It will be 8 years in November. I chose to come to East Bridgewater after being born and raised in Rockland because I didn't like the way that Rockland was going. They put up a bunch of 40B in Rockland. The school system is overcrowded. There's 30-plus students in each class. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for any other people's kids. I want my kids to be able to go out and ride their bikes and not have people whizzing down the street as they already do on Winter Street and make it a more dangerous street than it already is. And that's all I'm going to say, is that as a person who it's going to impact, I say no.
Thank you.
Good evening. Diane Phillips, 215 Plymouth Street. I'm also a member of the Planning Board, and have never spoke here before, but I'm very passionate about this issue. And I'm speaking in favor of the MBTA Communities Act personally, and just because of what it does. What do we have to gain? I've heard many negative comments over the last few months, but there are people who will really benefit, people that we know and love right here in our own communities. For one, young families that are just starting out. Mortgages are extremely high in East Bridgewater. I see them $600,000. I'm not a realtor, but they're very high. Those are starter homes. Starter homes for many young families is unattainable. Multifamily housing is an option for families who want to stay in the community that they grew up in and love. This is I grew up here. I'm almost 74. I've been here my whole life. I want my children to stay here. Young adults want to be near their work, want to move out of their parents' home. This is a place for union workers, for firefighters, for teachers, for young single professionals commuting to Boston, just like my dad did in the 1950s. It's also an option for seniors who want to downsize. MBA Communities Act provides options for housing. Small businesses would benefit and give them increase in foot traffic. Restaurants would benefit, hair salons, all the businesses that we have. It will increase our tax base. More money from taxes, less burden on the few, especially with all the things that we have that we want to continue with. Currently, there are 129 communities that have signed on, and there are more signing on, and there are only a few that have not. They are in compliance. It is estimated that, as Rachel said, that we'll lose anywhere between $1 and $2 million in funding if we do not pass this. This will affect our taxes. It will put us at a competitive funding disadvantage with our neighboring communities. I do not want to be a non-compliant town. I've heard that many object that we are being forced or mandated by state to rezone. Mandates are a good thing. Think of some of the mandates that we have. We have mandates to hold elections. We have mandates to have how many days in school. The Americans with Disabilities Act is another type of mandate. Mandates support people. Mandates are used to solve problems, and in this case, it's the housing crisis that we have in this state and in this town as well. How many have moved into town in the last 5 to 15 years? You were welcomed, and I ask why not others? I ask that you respectfully consider the loss of town funds, the loss of business traffic to our businesses, the loss of town compliance with state mandates. A yes on the MBTA North District will allow us to receive much-needed grant funding from the state, ensuring that we do sustain our schools, that our streets and our town services that we all love here in East Bridgewater. Yes, we have a rural community. This would not adversely affect that, and it will just help us maintain what we absolutely already love here in East Bridgewater. And I speak from that as a townie, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Mr. Bond. It is Bond, right?
Excuse me?
Is it Bourne or Bond?
Bourne.
Mr.
Like
Bourne,
the town
go
and the
ahead.
bridge.
Sorry.
Just to reiterate on if the state says that we're going to withhold funds, if you look at the law, it's strictly related to multifamily housing, stack-em and pack-ems, the infrastructure for that, and that's it. The law does not allow them to withhold any other funds, so the scare tactics are ridiculous. The town is a small rural town. We want to keep it as a small rural town. We don't need the extra traffic on Route 18. We don't need the extra traffic on Winter Street or any of the other side streets that get affected by this. The school system's already overburdened. We don't need another 100 or 500 more kids in the school, which is only going to cause the tax base to go up. We're going to pay for this. So again, vote no. And as the town attorney said, he'd like to join the other towns that are filing lawsuits against the state. I agree with him, and I thank you for putting that point out there. Again,
I think there's a misclarification. I want to get this right. He said if we vote it down, then it would be more economical for the town to join if we vote it down.
Just to be clear, if we vote it down, we won't be in compliance. We won't have any choice but to join the litigation. And another point, the loss of grant funding is not theoretical. The town of Marshfield is out of compliance. They have already been notified of several grants that they've lost. So that is not a threat or theoretical. That is happening. Again, I'm not saying that it's fair, that it's good policy, but it is in fact happening. And it's grants totally unrelated to housing.
that may be the fact, but if they look at the law clearly outlines what grants are involved. And if the state oversteps that and withholds other grants just to harass the town, there's a good reason to sue the state. But that's just this pettiness of the state. We see it every day, and with the lack of funding coming into the state's already going to be behind on the funding. So they got a big problem. So I would suggest vote no. If you want to join the other towns that are fighting this, awesome, do it. The thing is, vote it down, vote no. Don't fall for the baloney. It's only going to hurt the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Rosanna Lashley, 213 Cheryl Drive. I just have a question. I understand. You hear me? That's the first.
It is.
Rosanna Lashley, 213 Cheryl Drive. I just have a really, I don't know if it's a stupid question, but everyone keeps talking. Okay. That's much better. I just have a quick question. I understand that you guys keep saying putting these houses in will help the housing market because they will be more affordable. In the end, if we voted this in, do you guys have any, are you going to be able to tell a developer coming in, all right, you can only build it to be this big and it can only be this cost? Because how is it going to help the housing crisis if a builder comes in? I don't care if it's a 1/10 of an acre. That doesn't mean he can't build something and put all of the finest amenities inside and still charge someone $800,000. That's not affordable. So who gets to say it really truly will be affordable housing?
Good question,
10% of
Mr.
what?
Gardner, Planning Board. You might have to share that mic, apparently.
I'll go to the one that works. So I think there's a couple of important pieces here. Number one, that this is all privately financed housing. It's market-driven. It's been pretty clear from the development of housing in the town over the last 15 years that we're not going to have a lot of houses built in the $800,000 range. The marketplace is absolutely desperate for high turnover, fast build, smaller units at reasonable prices. That's what this is geared to support. A couple of other inaccuracies that were stated earlier tonight. Number one, all of the expenses to build these houses, including the infrastructure for the roadways, all the infrastructure for utilities, including water, all of those things are solely going to be paid by the builders. There is no charge to the town for any of that. Fact number two, the current school system is currently 20% below where its highest head count was less than 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there was over 2,500 students in the town of East Bridgewater going to the schools in the current school system, in the current buildings. We actually have more seats in the current schools than we had then. Current school enrollment is under 2,000 today. That's a difference of 20%, over 500 students. The average family size in the town of East Bridgewater, as of the 2023 census, which is the most current one we have records of, was just barely over 3 persons per household in the entire town. That's down a full person per household from 20 years ago. The housing problem we have in Massachusetts, and specifically in southeastern Massachusetts, is that family sizes are reducing in size by substantial amounts, 25% less. That means that the number of houses we have can't support the number of families we have. We need to fix that. And this is an opportunity to do that. Do I, as a 4-decade member of the planning board, like the way this is being done? No, I don't. I'll join Mr. Clifford in the way, in his opinion, that I don't like the way the state is forcing this on us. But they've made it clear that it will be done, and if it's not done, then it's going to cost us a lot of money. So my opinion is tonight, let's vote for our children, our grandchildren, and get this done.
Hi, Mary Walsh, 116 Northridge Drive. I do understand the points that you guys are making for yes for this, and I don't know everything, but I did sit through all those 40B meetings that we've had that they are doing right where you're doing this overlay, okay? And there are no restrictions, so Ms. Mickey, we cannot guarantee that this will be We cannot guarantee that this will be affordable housing, okay? There is no way, like you said, it is market-driven, I agree with that. And those houses that they are putting in on, off of Winter are in the 600,000s to 700,000s. That's not affordable, but they're calling it a portion of that affordable. I don't know who that's affordable to, okay? The apartments are selling for tons of money. They will go for a lot of money in that area. They are able to charge whatever they want. And we sat through the restrictions. Every time they ask for waiver after waiver. So we have these zoning bylaws, we have the conservation committee, they're all wetlands, everything, and they are building right up to it, within feet of it. Okay, and they will continue to do all this area. And it says here, a majority of the proposed zoning district is wetland and not developable. This is not true. They will develop right up to the water. Okay, that whole area is going to be, if you zone this, they will come and build, and they are doing this in communities all over, everywhere. And I understand that if we vote this down, we are non-compliant. I understand that, but they're gonna come in and they're gonna ruin East Bridgewater. The person who's doing the 40B, that passed that, they don't live here. They're gonna come in, they already have it for sale. They proposed this, and they're selling it, and they're gone. They made their millions, or will be making their millions. They're not residents of East Bridgewater. They don't care about this. I grew up in South Weymouth, not sure if anyone knows of the air station there. All of that is apartments, complexes, everything. It takes me 20 minutes to go from here to South Weymouth, where I teach, and it takes me double coming home because of the traffic. That's all it is traffic. And they had to widen Route 18 all the way from Weymouth down to Abington into Whitman to handle that. And we're gonna have to double Route 18 here because we can't handle that traffic, especially not in this proposed space. I'm not against affordable housing. I'm not against bringing in, because I came here 10 years ago and I love East Bridgewater. But we can't put this in one section of the entire place. You need to spread out affordable housing. And I understand too, with the concern with the elderly, none of this is saying that we can restrict to 55 plus. And that's what we need. We need 55 plus. But this does not allow us to do this. So as much as I would like I'm voting no for this because I want to do this responsibly, where we keep the integrity of East Bridgewater and the small farming community that we are. And I want to keep this the way it is. That's why I moved here, and that's why I love it. And it's ruining it. I'm already very upset about the 40B, and it's gonna ruin, Christine, your kids come up to my house and they ride their bikes and there's no sidewalks, and now they're not gonna be able to do that because of the 40B coming in right around the corner. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bourne, make it quick, because you've been up a couple times, so please make it quick.
I just want to compliment that lady. She's right on the money. I just want to call out Gardner for lying to us.
Well, don't call out, talk to me.
No, I need to call out.
If you have a different fact, tell me a different
Okay,
fact.
he just said that this won't cost the town a dime. It's all on the developer. Well, the 40B that we're talking about that already went through, who put in the storage system? Who's paying for that? That's coming from us. We're paying for that. So yes, there is
Hold on.
Okay.
I did something
It
about
just-
civil discourse. So, but that particular item has no bearing on tonight. You
Right, but
did
my
appear
point
plenty
is,
of times.
There may be hidden costs, there will be costs. And if people want affordable housing, putting Stackham and Packham on the border to bring in whoever doesn't mean that there's going to be anything affordable for anybody in town. If you want affordable housing in East Bridgewater, it's simple. Make the lots smaller for building. Okay? You've merged a whole bunch of lots in town, unmerge them. Make smaller lots for small houses that are affordable. Very simple. There's a lot of houses in town that have plenty of land, but the town won't let them build on it because they require what, 2 acres?
I don't think we require
Whatever
that
the,
much.
whatever the footage is. Make the lots smaller. If you have a small lot, you can put a small house on it. You can make affordable housing for many people in town. You don't need to bring the stack 'em and pack 'em. You don't need to bring the city to the town. That's only going to cause problems. So again, vote no. Thank you.
Roy, just go through me, I understand, but go through me, that was uncalled for.
So to respond to that comment, which in fact, under both state and local laws, was a false statement. State requires that for private developers developing land, whether it be under Chapter 40B, or whether it be under the MPTA zoning act, or whether it be in standard subdivision control, that all of the cost, including sewerage, whether it be municipal sewerage or Title V, is the sole responsibility of the developer. The developer has already paid the town a substantial amount of money in the millions of dollars as a prepayment for the work that needs to be done to get sewage to that 40B facility. And he will be paying more money to finish that. So a statement that the town is paying dime one for a private developer to get access to sewage that the town is paying for is demonstrably false, based on the contracts that are signed and the state law as it currently exists.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. I'm going to have, is that Mr. Nelson? I'm going to have him be the end of the discussion. Mr. Nelson, you can have the final word.
Mr. Moderator, I have a question relative to Article 5 handout. Specifically, the new district cannot have age-restricted units or restrictions on the minimum age of the occupants. True or false? Because they said we were going to limit who could be in the units. This says you can't.
I don't think I heard anyone that said she actually said there's nothing that says they specifically have anyone. I don't think there's anybody that said that you can limit the age. I think the young lady from South Weymouth said there's nothing in there that says you have to let 55. It's like not restricted to 55. That's what, my fellow South Weymouth person. Is that what you said, that there's nothing in there that says you can limit to 55, correct? That's what she's saying. She said, yep, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next item. Restrictions on the size of the units, the number of bedrooms, or the size of the bedrooms cannot be controlled, or cannot have any restrictions.
Is that correct, Kevin? The handout is accurate. Yeah, okay, the handout's accurate. Go on.
Okay. Restrictions on the number of occupants. What does that mean?
Well, please, we're going to try to get the answers. It seems to me if you come like I did in South Weymouth, they had 10 people in your family, you could live there. I was one of, there's 10 people living in my house growing up, and I suppose that's what it means, if we're all related. I know some people that had 13 or 14 people living in a house in Rockland. 16.
It doesn't say that here.
It says you can't restrict it.
Restrictions on the number of...
Cannot have.
Right, you can't have it.
Right, so you can have 10 people in a family.
Okay, so every one of these things we're giving up control of that we have under senior housing and all these other developments in town for single families or double family, a duplex. We have control over how many people go in there, correct?
You can still have a large family. I apparently have more kids than the town's limit right now, and my kids do too. Because I think I heard 3 persons a household now.
The building code is not zoning.
Right. So this doesn't affect, the building code's still the building code. This is saying the zoning act cannot restrict those things.
Okay, explain the last one on that list about requirements for more than 10% of affordable units.
Well, I presume, and well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I presume that you can't say it has to be 20% affordable units. You can't restrict more than 10%.
Yeah, let me answer that.
Yep. Thank you, Mr.
That's
Gardner.
confusing.
Is that it, Don? Do you have anything else after this? Okay.
Yeah, so the state included an option in the MBTA zoning district that would allow towns to allow up to 10% affordable housing if the town chose to do so. The way we had drafted our proposal for this zoning bylaw is we did not require any affordable units under the state definition of affordable units to be included. So the bylaw that we propose would be 0% required affordable units, which means, now very careful here, there's a very unique definition of affordable units under state law. Under current dollar values, if the market value of the units being sold was in the range of $600,000, fair market value, the affordable unit would be in the range of $150,000 if we deemed it appropriate to require those as part of the zoning bylaw. We deemed it was inappropriate to try and do that since these are going to be privately financed, privately developed housing.
Anything further, Mr. Nelson? Just go to the mic, Don.
It just confirms what I've heard from other speakers, that you really don't have control of the dwellings that are going to be built as to who can go in. You're going to price everything based on market. And if you're a smart businessman, you could go 600,000, 700,000, or above that. And there's nothing here that allows us to control it. Well, we are giving up our individual freedom in this community to keep it as a community that we love and cherish.
Thank you. All right. I said that was the last speaker. Do you have what's your question or the? Oh, I already did. I took it, but moderator has the ability to say we've met our requirements. We're going to vote now. What I do need, though, because it is a, and I don't want the burden to fall on me. Can the tellers come forward?
Mr. Moderator.
Because we're going to do. This requires a majority vote.
Mr. Moderator. Are we going to move the map? Ask for a motion on the map as well?
Okay. So, just to stay there, tellers come up. So Article 6. Yeah, Article 6. All Article 6 is, if this is approved, that's the map. Correct? That you're asking, Roy. Because we might as well do it, they're connected. If this passes, we don't go to Article 6.
If I could talk about this just very quickly. We were advised by the Mass Department of Housing, and I'm not going to get the right name because it keeps changing, but at the last open seminar we had at Holy Cross later last year, actually after the previous vote on this, their recommendation is that since this is an overlay district, the map should be included in the article with the overlay district. Now, for some reason, after we submitted the article as a single article with a map, it got separated in the warrant. Based on the advice of the State Council and the State Attorney General's office, I was at that seminar, it should have been together. So my recommendation would be, based on advice from Town Council, is that Article 6 and Article 5 be voted together.
I agree.
Can we ask for the planning board report on Article 6?
What's the recommendation on Article 6? So what we're going to do, we're going to vote on both. So if Article 5 passes, Article 6 passes. If Article 5 fails, Article 6 fails. Agreed? Agreed. Kevin, what's the planning board recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, public hearing was held on article, with respect to the map, the zoning map, related to MBTA communities on 5/5/25, and it was voted by a margin of 5-1 to recommend passage to the town meeting.
Thank you. And I'm also going to entertain just your motion to, I need a second on it. Your motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. On Article 6. All right. So we're going to do tellers. All in favor of Article 5 and in turn Article 6, raise your hand. And please keep them raised till I say.
Are we all set?
No, they haven't done us yet.
Counted the back. They count the back twice.
They're gonna miss this. They're gonna miss us too.
Yeah.
No.
Hands up.
Three.
All opposed? Raise your hand, keep them up, please. Article 5 is defeated, 72 to 59. It does not pass, nor does Article 6. On to Article 7. Mr. Riley, Planning Board.
Mr. Moderator, move that the town vote to amend Section 67 of the zoning bylaws of the town of East Bridgewater by deleting the current text in its entirety and replacing it with the text as is written in the warrant.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Made and seconded. For discussion, Mr. Riley.
The planning board held a public hearing on this matter.
Oh, yeah, with recommendation.
On 5/5/25, and it was voted 6-0 to recommend the passage of the article to town meeting. Purposes of discussion, folks will recall that last fall we amended our ADU bylaw in anticipation of the new requirements from the state. The state, after we acted, did come out with some new requirements and guidance, and basically what this is it is an attempt to comply with the new terminology and the new guidelines that the state put forward with respect to what we've already voted.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 7 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 7 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 7 passed by majority. Article 8, Ms. Julius from Select Board.
Mr. Moderator, I vote that the town vote to transfer from available funds the sum of money from account number 1-0-359-3590 free cash, $189,597 required to meet obligations for the East Bridgewater Police Association for FY26 as printed.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously approved that article.
Ms. Julius for discussion, if any.
This is the second part of what we funded in the special town meeting, and it funds the patrol officer's contract for FY26.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 8 as presented? Emily?
I just want to clarify, just so it doesn't get missed, that this is the second part to this article to fund a retirement for a DPW employee under a contractual obligation.
That's 9.
I'm looking at 8. It's part of the contractual obligation article.
Do you want me to add that?
Oh, to me, where it says meet obligations, put contractual?
Yeah, the way
I said it's printed.
The way I'm seeing the motion has, underneath all the line items, says also,
Okay.
and from account number 1-0-359-3590 to 1910-6014.
Required to meet contractual.
Yes.
All right, so it's a minor, just a minor correction, just a
Yep.
omission of a word.
I'll also add to the motion from account number 1-0-359-3590 free cash to account number 1-910-6014-5167 contractual obligations for $33,000 for the retirement of a DPW employee.
Thank you. And again, it's more just a correction of, it's nothing damaging to the, so we'll take a second, obviously. I have a motion, I have a second. And we already have the finance recommendation. Any further discussion on Article 8 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 8 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 8 passes. Mr. Sheedy, Select Board.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate transfer from account number 1-0-359-3590 free cash the sum of $25,390 to account number 1-910-6014-5167 contractual obligations to fund a sick leave buyback for a patrol officer who will be retiring in fiscal year 2026.
Have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Made second. Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Thank you. Mr. Sheedy for discussion, if any.
This is just an obligation for one of our officers who has been here for many years, retiring toward the end of the year for his sick leave buyback.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 9 is presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 9 is presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 9 passes. Article 10, Chief Jenkins.
Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer from account number 80-122-3604-4680 opiate stabilization fund to account numbers 01-210-520-5731 dues, memberships, conferences, the sum of $1,000 to cover Plymouth County outreach annual dues.
Have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion made second. The Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Chief for discussion, if any.
It's just to fund the annual membership for the Plymouth County outreach, which is, helps us with substance abuse.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 10 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 10 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Chair declared that a two-thirds majority, supermajority. Mr. Spigot, Select Board. Article 11.
Mr. Moderator, to see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer from account number 8012236044680 opiate stabilization fund to account number 11155205314, the sum of $10,000 to cover IT costs for the Plymouth County outreach, or to take any other action thereof.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Mr. Spigot for discussion, if any.
No, just as printed.
Any further discussion on Article 11 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 11 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 11 passed by more than two-thirds. Article 12, Mr. Solari here? Steve? Oh, I'm sorry. My thing says, apparently Steve couldn't make it. Dave's here.
Mr. Moderator, to see if, I move to see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer from account number 103593590, free cash, the sum of $35,000, to account number 1-141-614-5316, fiscal year 2026, 5-year revaluation for the purpose of conducting the fiscal 2026 5-year revaluation and certification, or take any action thereto.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee unanimously approved this article.
Mr. Phillips for discussion, if any.
None as printed.
All right, any further discussion on Article 12 is presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 12 is presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 12 passes, majority. Article 13, Mr. Walsh, Capital Committee.
I move that the town vote to transfer from account 103593590, free cash, $208,038, transfer from account 22231-835-4270, ambulance receipts, $400,000, and transfer from account 3061006-5006-5625, library roof and HVAC, $350,000 to fund the stated projects listed above in the warrant.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Capital Committee recommendation.
Capital Committee unanimously recommends this also.
For discussion, if any, Mr. Walsh.
These are projects that were presented to the Capital Committee, reviewed through the course of the year, and this is what we felt we could afford to do this year.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 13 as presented? Ms. Wolf.
Kathy Wolf, 272 Laurel. I'm just interested in how many tasers the 29,000 purchases. And are we rotating in terms of replacing them so that like 10 this year, 10 next year?
Would you like me to defer that to the police chief?
We can defer it to the police chief, but I believe the ones we have now are about 5 years old, and they've reached end of life, and now we have to replace them all.
Do you know how many we have?
Chief Jenkins, do you know how many tasers this would... Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 13 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 13 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 13 passes. Mr. Phillips again? From the Board of Assessors.
Mr. Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to accept General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 221, which authorizes an annual increase in the amount of the exemption granted under General Laws, Chapter 56, Section 5, Clause 22, Clause 22A, Clause 22B, Clause 22C, Clause 22E, and Clause 22F by the percentage increase in the U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Statistics, Consumer Price Index for the previous year as determined by the Commissioner of Revenue to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 2025.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Motion made, seconded. Does Finance Committee have a recommendation?
Yep, Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Mr. Phillips for discussion, if any?
None. As printed.
Any further discussion on Article 15? See, I can't, you're still gonna be able to be heard, Kevin, so.
Aye. 22 aye.
Mine looks like J.
It's aye.
It's aye because the next one is J, the next article.
Oh, yeah, I see. Oh, so, just, it is aye, it has the thing on both sides.
Did
So
I read that
14 is
as
Article
one?
22 aye.
Sorry about that. It's 2-2 aye.
Yep.
I stand corrected.
Any further discussion on Article 14 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 14, as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 14 passes. Article 15, Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to accept General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 22J, which authorizes an annual increase in the amount of the exemption granted under General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 22, Clause 22A, Clause 22B, Clause 22C, Clause 22E, and Clause 22F by 100% of the personal exemption amount, subject to the conditions of Clause 21J, to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1st, 2025.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee unanimously recommends this.
Mr. Phillips, discussion, if any.
None as printed.
All right, any further discussion on Article 15 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 15 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 15 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Article 16, Chief Jenkins, Police Department.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize under General Law, Chapter 44, Section 21C, upon the recommendation of the Select Board, a lease purchase financing agreement for the acquisition of two new 2025 Ford Interceptor police utility cruisers. The term of the agreement not to exceed 3 years, the useful life of the cruiser as determined by the Select Board, and to authorize the Police Department to enter into such agreement on behalf of the town, subject to approval and an appropriation of $52,335.22 for the first payment of the agreement for FY26 Police Department new equipment budget.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Finance Committee.
Finance Committee didn't vote on this, Capital
Capital,
Committee did.
my next one.
And this money was approved in the town budget.
Thank you. He said the Finance Committee didn't recommend, but Capital Committee did, and this money was already approved.
Finance Committee approved the townwide budget.
Okay. Oh, and this was in it.
That $52,000 was included in the police budget. Capital Committee also recommends this article.
Thank you. Chief, for discussion, if any.
As printed, unless there's questions.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 16 as presented? Mrs. Wolf?
I might not understand. Is the $52,000 the total cost, or is it over 3 years we'll pay $52 each year, or what's the deal?
Mike?
It's
Mike, can you come to the
$52 a
mic,
year?
Mike?
It's a 3-year agreement with 52 each year.
So it's over $150,000 for a cruiser?
We used
two cruisers.
Two cruisers.
Two cruisers, okay.
Mr. Jenkins?
Just to reiterate, the cost of a cruiser now is $74,000 totally outfitted. That's with all the equipment, the purchase of the cruiser and everything that's included. The cost of cruisers have probably gone up 20% in the last 2 to 3 years.
Thank you, Chief.
And in conjunction with the Capital Committee and the Finance Committee, instead of allocating out $150,000 with considering the life of the cruisers, we are doing it this way through a lease of $52,000 each year, so we can have money for other things in the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Any further discussion on Article 16 as presented? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 16 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 16 passes.
Mr. Moderator, that needs a 2/3.
The chair declares, moderator declares passed by 2/3. Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Article 17, Ms. Julius, Select Board.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the Select Board to accept the donation of real property located near Hudson Street, East Bridgewater, and known as Assessor's Map 15, Lot 2, and consisting of approximately 5 acres, with such acceptance upon such terms as the Select Board deems appropriate.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Motion, second. Does Finance Committee have a recommendation? No. Ms. Julie, for discussion, if any.
It's a parcel of land that the owners don't want anymore, and they want to donate it to the town.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 17? This requires a 2/3 vote. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 17, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed by more than 2/3. Motion to adjourn the meeting. So, second, everyone have a good summer. Go Celtics.